So, hi everyone. Today I'm with Michael, who's a co-founder of Spyre, which is a gaming gear company. They've mostly been focusing on mouse pads for the past years. And
Mhm.
2.5 years ago, we did an interview to talk about their first mouse pad, which was the Kamek. And ever since then, they've gotten quite a lot of products out. And recently, actually, got to receive the Manta, which is the newest one. And so I wanted to do a bit of a follow-up interview to talk about the brand, talk about the way that their approach has evolved. Many questions about like the gaming gear market specifically, so some mouse pads.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
yeah, here we are. How are you, Mick?
Yeah, I'm good, and thank you for having me on and doing this, especially on late notice. So thank you for that. Yeah, I'm good, mate. Just taking it easy, just learning about life really, and enjoying every moment of it. So, and I hope you've been well yourself.
I have. I like that mentality. So yeah, so speaking about life, I guess one of the big things that has happened and that has impacted all of us since our last interview has been COVID.
Mhm.
And I've heard a lot of businesses, especially small businesses, have been very much impacted by that. And so I was quite happy to see that Spire is still standing. And so I was wondering, to what extent would you say Spire and yourself have been impacted by COVID?
Yeah, so I'll try to speak delicately about the COVID stuff. But actually, when you first interviewed me, was sort of 3 months or 2 months just after it became a big thing in
Mm,
Australia, where we decided, well, the government decided to shut down businesses and mandate businesses, in the government sector. So the time that you interviewed me and when I actually started the Kamek sales
mhm,
was due to COVID because in my personal life, I was working in IT
mhm.
and I was working for a government job and they brought in the COVID mandates. And I was not at the time ready to just jump into the injection situation. So I had to leave that company and then I needed money. And already had the Camex ordered, so they were on the way. But that pretty much fueled the ignition to start selling the Camex straight away. Like almost don't think about it, just start selling. And that's why I really, really wanted the 2021 year on the Kamek packaging to be a reminder to me, like everything, and yeah, that's the impact of COVID that had on me personally. As for the business, not really. Everything's postage. Postage times did delay a little bit, but nothing that was too damaging or impactful to me or Aspire. Not just me, but Aspire. So yeah, that's the COVID situation
Okay,
as personal and business.
gotcha. Well, I'm happy to hear that you've managed to pull through this, which definitely was quite a challenging time, especially for businesses. So now talking about the newest product, so the Manta, which I have right here, which I've been.
Yeah,
Let's see. Oh,
I'm
sorry. The focusing
I'm
is
still I'm
terrible. Ah,
still
there we go.
nah,
There we
that's all
go.
right. That's all
We
right.
we
Yeah,
got it.
I'm still testing mine as well. So I've had about 4 months on mine. I think you've only had a month ish, less than a
Yeah, like
month.
a month
I
or
can't
two,
even
I
remember.
think. I'm not sure
Yeah,
exactly, but
but
yeah, I've really
yeah,
been
that's all
liking
right.
it. It's definitely a great mouse pad. But with that said, I think one of the big questions that I want to ask is
Mm-hmm.
about the price. So if
Yes.
if
Yep.
I go on Max Esport, which is I believe the official retailer for Spire products in France, or at least one of the retailers, am I right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Max
So
Gaming, the French retailers.
yes,
Yep. That's
yeah,
right.
yeah. So I think the mouse is like 56 euros, and so
Mm.
that's a pretty high asking price, especially when there are like other great mouse
Of
pads
course.
like the
Yeah. Yeah.
QCK
Of
Plus for
course.
for 20 bucks. And so I was wondering how do you justify the basically asking more than twice as much than other mouse pads?
No, that's all right. That's a great question, actually. And just speaking to resellers, so for people who don't do anything in retail or reselling, the resellers set the price.
Mm.
So we don't have any control over that. They set the price. And just like you're saying, it's how much? 55 euro
56
in.
plus shipping, I think. On
What does that work out to USD, just roughly? Do you know, or not?
I
You
think
don't
that
know the
the difference
conversion?
is not that much, honestly, with USD.
Right.
Um, let's see, I can
The only reason I
check.
was asking is because, so in Europe, our European resellers set a similar price.
Hmm.
So we've got Max Esport and Max Gaming at the moment. And yeah, they both set the same price.
Mm.
However, in Korea and in Japan, where we also resell, and there's other places as well, the price is a lot cheaper.
Mm.
So I would say if you say you're paying, what was it,
So,
56
so, so,
euro just for the pad? Don't worry about shipping for now, but what was it for the pad roughly?
so yeah, 56. So on Max Esports, 56 euros, which would be $60 at the time of recording.
Yeah. So if I
60 US
have a
dollars.
look at our Yep. So if I have a look at our Japanese and our Korean prices,
Mhm.
it's 40 euros.
Okay. Okay.
So it's very country and region dependent.
Mm.
Now, why I would say, I can tell you why we've set our price. I can't necessarily tell you why the European resellers bumped that up. Obviously, they're reselling, so it's convenience of having local shipping that they're
Mhm.
probably factoring in, and they're most likely comparing to our shipping price. The pad plus our shipping from
Mm.
Australia, and then looking at that and going and setting a rate around about the same competitively, right?
I see.
So why we chose the 80 Australian dollar price point for the Manta is where we think the pad fits
Mhm.
into the current landscape and the accessibility and availability of a pad of this quality in certain countries.
Mm.
So like we said, because artisan is the top level quality, but they're in Japan. So we can't bump the price that high
Yeah.
because it's not competitive at all. They're getting artisans in Japan for like 40, 50, whatever it is, American dollars, and they're just shipping's cheap because it's local.
Mhm.
Very similar to Korea. Well, they're just right by Japan, so they get cheaper prices on the artisan as well. So we had to negotiate with the resellers and find a price that suited them competitively to
Mm.
fit with artisan. Now, this isn't any shots at anyone. However, some resellers asked for a communication or a discussion on the price, and some resellers didn't. And so but that's not on us. We can't decide that. So, but just coming back to our price point, there isn't really a lot of, how do we say, I want to find the right words, in Australia specifically, a great deal of competition of a pad of this quality.
Mm.
And where it's not, I mean, everyone's got a preference on texture and softness and whatever. That's just individual. Why you're asking why we've set it double the price, right? Is because of the lasting wear on it.
Mm.
So when I remember we were talking about the interview questions and you brought up the QCK, for example, which is really cheap. Like that's a cheap pad. It's 4 times cheaper than the Manta,
Mhm.
right? The QCK, I've used 10 in my lifetime. You get 3 good months out of them, maybe, and then you need to buy a new one.
Mm.
So if I'm having to buy 4 or 5 every couple of years, and then comparing that to buying something like this, then I can justify it. Compared to our other products, it is twice as good, if not 3, 4, 5 times as good. So we also factored that in as well for our price point. But we're not, I would say, stuck on a certain price. It's just a causation of the times and variables. If things change, if people go cheaper elsewhere or things change in the landscape, we'll reconsider that and we'll adjust. And you have to start with the price. So
Mhm.
if you start with the price and then it's not selling, or you have to make some changes because of, like I said, landscape competitors changing, then we'll do that.
Mm.
We'd rather go lower than go higher.
I see.
So that was sort of our thinking behind it. And yeah, well, hopefully that's answered your question. And I don't want to talk too much about additional customer value that we include with the Spyre brand, but just as an example, only 2 months ago or a month ago, we rewarded our top 15 customers with a free Manta. So it's dependent on the loyalty of the customer as well. You know, they didn't have to pay. They got a free Manta. Do you see how, and shipping included, free shipping as well. So it's about trying to find who are you looking after, how are you looking after them, you know, why are you doing the things you do, and you know that's just I guess I'm trying to give you an example of how we're trying to justify the price. We're doing other things than just you're buying the product and then you're forgetting about us. We're trying to keep you involved in the brand and also trying to give you some value back later. Like these people that got free Mantas, they may not have even ordered from us this year. That might have been last year or the year before, but they helped create Spyre. Like you can't deny that. They're our most expenditure customers. So they're our most valuable customers in a sense. So yeah, I hope that answers the question in a full circle. And yeah, I mean, we're not stuck on the price. It's just where we're at the moment, and we'll take on feedback and adjust as we need to.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, I guess I like this idea of involving the community, especially when it's when you're a pretty small brand, right, compared to like Steel Series or Zoe, like all the other large brands. And I guess that there really is this feeling of a community where like I don't know if I go to any LAN, then I can probably count on like one of my hands the amount of people that I would see with a Spyre mousepad, right? Whereas like I don't know people with some of those other brands, it'd be a lot bigger. So yeah, you can really feel like more of a community. I see that, and really trying to I guess hold on to the customers, keep them like I don't know, feeling involved with the brand. Yeah, I like that idea. It makes a lot of sense in the case of Spyre. And yeah, the other thing you touched on, for longevity, that's one of the things I wanted to ask you about in terms of the Kamek, so the mouse pad that I had, for a couple of years before replacing it with the Manta, both of which were kindly gifted to you. So thanks again for
Wow,
for
you
this.
got 2 years out of it. I used it for a good year. Mine, I seriously, I only cleaned it like twice.
I
So yeah, I think it did have good last that
Yeah,
Kamek.
definitely. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
basically, I really wasn't certain about replacing it, but basically, since you were like, hey, we got a new mouse pad coming, like, do you want to have it? I was like, yeah, hell yeah. So, but yeah, otherwise, I could easily have kept it for like I don't know, a good year or perhaps even
Hey, well,
more.
that's
So
good. We love to
yeah.
hear that. So, and that's not anything planned. That's just pure, luck.
Mm,
And if fortune favors you, well then double down on it.
mm.
So I don't want to reveal too much, but we are talking about bringing the Kamek back.
Okay.
In its original form, just more trying to fix the base a little
Yeah.
bit, and we're going to try flat packaging, recyclable flat
Okay.
packaging, cardboard, and hopefully that will improve the delivery. Same as the Manta, flat.
Mm.
It won't be exactly the same, but we're going to try and get it close so that it's
Nice.
a nice flat delivery.
Mm. Nice. Yeah, definitely. I remember with the Kamek, actually the only basically the only reason why I was thinking of replacing it was because of the base. Because
Yes, yeah,
previously, when I was in the UK, the table I was gaming on was a very rough wood. And so I felt like it made it so that the mouse pad
it
would
stuck
would
better.
be very grippy, right? Whereas like my new
Yeah,
desk back in France is a very polished wood, and so it very much felt like the Kamek was sliding on it. And I was doing a bit of research like how to get it more and more sticky. I was thinking of like putting some glue. I was thinking of like drilling the mouse pad
heat.
on the desk. But
Just the hairdryer can sometimes do it. The heat
yeah,
can reheat the rubber, reshape it, and then you settle it down like
okay.
semi-warm, not hot. You're not going to burn your desk, but like yeah, and we found that helps a lot. But yeah, it's a it was a nuance of that pad,
Mm,
and now with the Manta, you can hopefully you can tell us, is it
yeah,
stick alright? Does it feel
absolutely.
good? It yeah, so. And that polyurethane base is hopefully the future of the rest of our
Mm,
products.
yeah.
So touch wood at the moment, but yeah, we're enjoying it at the moment.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely felt the difference because with the Kamek, basically what I had to do to keep it grippy was like clean the base regularly, and one
Yes,
thing that
yep.
worked was actually putting some water on my desk, and so
Yeah,
that
okay,
kind of made
okay.
it feel grippy, and so it worked. But
Hey,
basically,
water
I
is the
had to do it
miracle.
regularly, so that was a bit annoying at the time. Whereas sort of with
Yeah,
the
of
Manta,
course, yeah.
I kind of get this feeling of it being sticky without actually having to regularly like every week wash it or put water under it. So that's been great. Yeah.
Did you I don't think I sent you a Loque. Did you try the
No,
Loque
no, I've
or
never tried
no?
to actually.
That that had a good base as well.
Okay.
Not the same as the Manta, but an improvement. And the
All right.
Daru was an improvement as well. The
Mm,
Apogee, the manufacturers maybe misunderstood us a little, and I think the Apogee needed a little bit more weight. It also had base sliding issues a little bit, not as much as the Kamek, but
okay.
enough that we wanted to address that in future orders of the Apogee. So yeah, we're experimenting with some new sizes and a new base on the Apogee in certain places, and the feedback so far is really good. So yeah,
Nice.
the base thing is. However, I will just say with the Camex, we are going to be using the original stock.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to be getting the exact version. We're just going to
Mm,
try and do as much as we can to fix the base,
mm-hmm.
but also filter out, if there's ones that are just no good,
Mm.
they're gone.
Yeah, I see.
We'll see. Mate, I mean, we're not going to throw them in the bin, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe we can repurpose them later, or maybe we can strip the rubber out and replace the rubber. I don't like throwing things out, to be
Mm.
honest with you. I think everything has, I'm not a hoarder. Of course, throw things out that, you've used it, it's had its purpose, and it no longer serves a purpose. 100% throw it out. But if it's something like a Kamek with a bad base or a bunch, I think that there's a solution down the road. We just haven't discovered it yet, or, so hold on to them for now.
Sounds good.
And that's
Yeah.
what we're doing.
Good stuff. So actually, speaking of the Kamek, another question I wanted to ask you is about the 10-year warranty that was on the Kamek. That was really like one of the big marketing points. That's really something that in the couple of reviews of it that I saw, people were really insisting on it. Like
Mm.
asking questions: Is this really going to last 10 years? Spire is a small brand. Are they really gonna still be there, and be able to, I don't know, hold on to the
Yeah,
promise
of
of the
course.
10-year warranty. And
Yeah, yeah,
when
of course.
and with the Manta, one thing I saw is that it didn't really seem like the 10-year warranty was mentioned, whereas with the Kamek it was like really big on the packaging. And so I was wondering, is this something like how has this changed, evolved?
Yeah, so that was almost based on the customer behavior.
Hmm.
At the time when I first started putting all this together, I thought, oh, here's an amazing plan. I'll offer, like, pretty much, like I said, 10-year lifetime
Hmm.
replacements.
Hmm.
And then next minute, no one wants it. Not that they don't want the pad. I think a lot of people just didn't understand the offer.
Yeah.
And so when we took the Kamek down from the website, I would say most people thought we didn't have them anymore.
Hmm.
And, maybe people don't expect things to last like that. But I would say, I can probably count how many replacements we did on my two hands. So the other thing that we were trying to understand is what would the customers enjoy instead of the same product again and again and again? And that is a new product
Hmm.
for free. So what we did was we offered a exchange for the Kamek code, that code for a free Loque, which was the blue pad. At the time, we had done 50 by 50, which is a nice big square size, and yeah, it was really popular. I would say we probably gave out over 100 for free. So customers that bought the Kamek, 100, come back to our website and said, I'll take a free Loque for sure. They had to pay shipping, of course, but they got a free Loque. And yeah, and then we just kept it rolling. So when we did the Aimer packs, which is the 4 colors before the Manta, the same thing happened. People wanted to use the codes for free product. They just wanted it now. I can't explain it more than that. And so it started to build an idea in my head. Well, well, who doesn't love free stuff, of course.
Mm,
But how could I tie some sort of like reward mechanic into this brand? And again, the benefit of doing that is it's like 6 months later, a year later, you've got this sudden burst of value
mm,
from nowhere. Like the
yeah.
people, the top 15 most valuable customers, they didn't know they were getting a Manta.
Mm,
This is years later. They're getting a
mm,
free product. Again, they might not like it. That's fine. They can sell it, give it to a friend, give it to a family, whatever. It's theirs.
mm,
So, so yeah, I just kept thinking in this sort of reward aspect and thought, well, how would I want to be if I was a customer? Like, what would I want? What would I expect? And it gets very how do I say it? Like you're very humbled when someone spends like $200-300 with you. Honestly, it's like they don't need 5 mousepads or 4 mousepads,
mm.
so they're collecting it or they're sharing it with friends. I don't know the reasons always. I don't get to ask them. However, when I see that, it's blows me away, and then makes me think like I need to bring more value to this person. They're spending
Mm.
so much money with me. What else can I do? So yeah, that's how it evolved. And yeah, I don't think we'll go back to that. Dan and Tyler, so the two partners that were a three, like sort of equal three,
Mhm.
they didn't love the 10-year warranty. They also didn't love the free pads. They would have rathered it be a chance for a free pad
Okay.
rather than just a direct free pad. But at the same time, you don't want to be empty-handed.
Yeah.
So, it's about finding that middle ground of
Mm.
value and cost effectiveness. Because sending out those free mantas as an example, right? Of course, we're only paying the unit cost to make the manta, but we're paying the shipping as well, and that's
Yeah.
like 700 Australian dollars. So we can't do that forever.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was just the spur of the moment thing. The manta just I don't know. I just sometimes I just get like a whisper from the wind, mate, and I just wake up one morning and go, I'm doing this, and then yeah, I just did it. So well, we did it together. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I guess the question of warranty is a really tricky one because, you know, showing like it's very much a promise and I want to say like a sign of good faith from the manufacturer when they have like a prolonged um, warranty. And so I personally, I'm very sensitive to this, and I'm like, okay, this actually shows that they have confidence in their product, that they've really put in some effort to make it last, that you're really getting your money's worth out of it. So it's definitely a great selling or a great marketing argument, I want to
Mm,
say.
mm,
But at the
mm.
same time, it's true that it's quite tricky with mouse pads because, as you said, it very much depends on the way the player uses it. I guess like I don't know if you imagine somebody who has like a mouse with some really rough skates, somebody who is always on the move, always like rapping on like rolling unrolling the mouse pad. I don't know who has maybe like some very sweaty and acid hands. I
It's
don't know like
common. It's common.
yeah,
Yeah,
like
it's common. It is
all
common.
of this has a huge impact. I don't
Yes, for
know if
sure.
they have a baby who froze up on the mouse pad. I don't know, like whatever could
Yeah, yeah,
happen.
whatever it is.
And
Yeah,
and
a cat
it's true.
normally as well.
It's
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of hard to I guess determine exactly like what falls within the
Well, we
the
actually
warranty
had
and
to do a few. So yeah, we had one guy accidentally burn the pad. I don't know if it was a cigarette or what it was, but yeah, he burned it. We've had someone cut the pad, so to fit it on their smaller desk, they just cut it, and then we because I wasn't getting a lot of the warranty requests, I just
Mhm.
actioned them as they came.
Okay.
But if we had like 100 people cut it and then go, hey, give us a free one, like, okay, we can't do that. Come on,
Yeah, for
guys.
sure.
But yeah, no, we were pretty flexible on it. And like I said, I don't know if it was an interpretation thing or just people wanted to try something new because the Loque was extremely popular as well. Like the
Mm,
Kamek was a great product for us, but then the Loque was a great second product.
mm,
So people wanted to try it, and I would say the feeling's not too far away from the Kamek. It's not exactly the same, but I could see how people could like both.
mm,
And yeah, that was just how it evolved. And yeah, we didn't try to fight it. The
mm. I
customers
see.
had the options for both, and they took the free one or took the new pad. So
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Nice. Okay. Yes. So actually, talking about the warranty, the longevity of the product. Another question I want to ask you, it's something that a topic I find really important and very dear to me is the question of sustainability. And so I'm wondering, so first of all, you try to make like a product that's going to last for a very long time, that's very resistant. And so obviously, like if we're thinking of in terms of environmental impact, if somebody buys a mouse pad and they keep it for several years, then obviously that's a lot better than somebody who always has to replace it because it's a very poor quality one. I was wondering,
Yes.
um, beyond this, on top of this, are there anything that you try to do to reduce the environmental impact of the products?
Yeah, so the packaging, the tubes, they weren't like it is paper or a version of paper cardboard, but I don't know that it's exactly recyclable. The
Hmm.
old tubes, the new packaging's full cardboard, like just throw it out straight in the cardboard bin, all good. As for the longevity of products, well, as you know, the Kamek lasted a fair while, and our personal experiences on the Manta is that it also lasts a long time as well compared to other pads in a similar price range and that are already existing. So I would say like we've just struck luck there that
Mm-hmm.
both products and even the Loque seems to last a long time.
Hmm.
The Apogee Daru not as much, and the Rosanna is the Kamek as well. It's just another variation of it. However, with the Rosanna, you know, it does get dirty. So I don't know if people are necessarily throwing them out or cleaning them. But I would say the packaging was the biggest sort of environmental thing that we thought, well, how can we change this and also, improve the packaging with flat? And yeah, other than that, mate, in terms of like the brand and stuff, yeah, it's just making product, like you said, if the longevity's there of the product, then it's better. That's, yeah, all I've got for you at the moment. So
Okay.
nothing that was sort of like we need to get a lasting product that lasts 10 years. Like we didn't
Mm.
prioritize that, but something that lasts longer than 3 to 6 months, yeah, for sure. Like
Mm.
Tyler's been testing this for almost not a year, but like 8 months at least, the
Mm.
Manta himself. And he just kept telling us, it's like brand new, it's like brand new. He kept saying it. So, yeah, no, we were very excited about it. And yeah, I'm still excited about it. So,
Nice. Nice. That's good to hear. So yes, so as we said, this idea of like longevity is really one of the main marketing element for a mouse pad, and actually it does make me wonder. Outside of this, how do you make a mousepad stand out? Because if we think of some other gaming gear, like I don't know if we talk about gaming mice, for example, then you can really make it stand out by, for example,
100%.
having like the lightest mouse possible. There's very much been a race for this in the past years. I don't know, having like the most accurate sensor with the highest DPI possible. Having I don't know what else do they
Well, let's talk about something
suggest?
recent, like the
Yeah,
keyboard situation with Wooting
yeah.
and Razer. Do you know about that or not? The
Yeah,
keyboard thing
absolutely. Yeah,
with the
Wooting's really
activation.
been
Yeah. So
having like those
there's
new
a
features.
great
Yeah.
example where Steel Series and Logitech they're not on that train just yet. They
Yeah.
haven't done that yet. So people who play on their keyboards, professional gamers, are thinking, well, hang on a sec. Do I need a change now? Are they going to bring out something similar? And it will be very interesting
Mm,
as sort of like a spectator, like, because obviously we're not in the keyboard market, but as a spectator, I'm really excited to see what everyone's going to do now
yeah.
because, whether or not it's that much better, like, honestly, I think it's probably like 10, 15, 20% maybe in that sort of realm
Hmm.
better. So it's like a little bit better, but not a lot better. But it seems to caught wind with the marketing, and it's
Yeah.
just catching fire on YouTube. And YouTubers are refreshing it.
Yeah.
Wooting versus Razer, let's go. It's game on. But what do the other brands do? That's what I'm personally interested in.
Yeah.
So, and just coming back to the mouse pads, yeah, I mean that is it, right? How do you get a product or find a product that fits into the market, and then how do you tell everyone about it?
Yeah.
So with the Kamek, honestly, the Kamek was just gold, mate. It was such a unique product
Hmm.
that felt similar, but wasn't. And it had its drawbacks, of course, but it was almost like a budget artisan
Okay.
in a real, like, I don't want to compare the Kamek at all to the artisan, but I think some people did see it like that because they came from either an Artisan Zero or a GSR, something that was soft and control oriented. And then with the Kamek, so I don't know if I've even told you the story about how we found the Loque. So how we found the Kamek, just insane. I think I did tell you the story. The guy on LinkedIn just messaged me, just complete randomness. And then the Loque was an even better. Can I tell the Loque story?
Sure, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, can I tell the Loque story? So we had the Kamek in the hands of a player who's like extremely good at Valorant, and I like the Kamek. I like the Kamek. Cool. I'm listening to his stream, right? And someone asks him, "Is the Kamek the best mousepad you've tried? Like, how much do you like it?" Right? And he says this: "It's up there. It's probably the second best pad I've tried. The first best was XYZ. I won't say the name. XYZ." And I immediately Googled XYZ pad. Where is this pad? Reddit threads. Nah, can't find the pad. It's not on sale anywhere. Like, nowhere. But every single forum I'm reading, they're talking about it like it was made by someone from out of this world. Like, they're crazy fanatic about it. And I was sitting there thinking, like, can I understand what's happened here? Has that company gone under? Did they? Because I have a sort of guess. I have a theory of why they may have went under, and
Okay.
mostly just mismanaged, but also they tried to do two products instead of just the one. And I thought to myself, like, I wonder if I can find who made this. And like, because obviously I thought the company who made the pad was still exists, but the company who sold the pad is now gone under or non-existent. So I'm thinking the whole time, I just need to find this pad. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? So I found a company. I struck gold, mate. I found the weirdest link, and I found what I thought was it. I sent it to this guy who said, "This is like the greatest pad." Da da da. And he said, "It's so close, bro. Like, I can't tell the difference." He said that to me. Immediately, we started ordering it. And you know what's funny? He has the only grey copy of the pad because we didn't want anybody else to know we were working on a second product. And so
Oh.
we made it the same color as the Kamek for him so he could test it for us and tell us, is it good or is it not good, without anyone going, what's that? You know, what's going on there? What are they working on? You know, so that's the Loque story. And yeah, honestly, like, I don't want to say his name because obviously I'm gonna look after him later. But yeah, when he said that on the stream, and I just like detective hat on, mate, Sherlock Holmes, scouring the internet, like everything, mate, to try and understand what happened. Because there was a couple of reviews on the pad, but not many. But when I found the Reddit threads, mate, it was like Pandora's box. I'm going down rabbit holes, bro. Like, people are like, I can't find this pad anywhere. Like, you know, they're losing their mind about the pad. And I couldn't believe it, mate. And I was like, I got to find this, you know. So that's the Loque story. I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, obviously we did a different color and stuff like that. Like that brand, again, maybe one day I'll talk about them, but maybe one day people can guess it. I'd love that, people to guess it. And yeah, then the Loque was obviously a big hit. And then after that, we thought, well, like you're saying, sort of, where to next? You know, what do we do? How do we innovate? How do we keep people interested in the brand? And then for us personally, we were very focused on creating a diverse range, you know, something that had texture, something that didn't have texture, something that was soft, something that was a bit hard, something that was control speed, because everyone likes something different. So we tried to really find the next sort of stages of what we're missing with the Kamek and the Loque, right? So they're the first two products. What are we missing from the rest of the range? And then we did that with the Amber Pack, and then everyone said straight away, you know, where's the poron or the polyurethane, or the, you know, where's that next level for Spyre? And so Tyler, he just immediately started researching, you know, what's the best sort of materials that go with. He compared poron and polyurethane himself and decided polyurethane was better, you know, and then we just sort of kept refining the test pads until he found something he loved as a Counter-Strike player. Remember, he had Counter-Strike a lot in mind when he found the Manta and when he used the Manta, because he was a Counter-Strike player himself before Quake. And he loved it, and he kept telling us how good it was and how much it was lasting. And we thought, well, all right, the customers have been asking for a product that feels like it's close to like an LGG or an Artisan. That's Lethal Gaming Gear. If you don't know that their brand, they make really good pads as well. And we were like, well, we don't want to fill out the whole range with $80, $90 pads. I mean, that's just, the Shaq O'Neal, if you know the Shaquille O'Neal situation, where he didn't want to join like Nike or Adidas because they were going to do what they did with Jordan and price his shoes too high. He wanted kids to be able to afford his shoes. And so we thought the same, we've got a starter range, which is what we have now, and we're going to build out the premium range as we discover new products that fit with the polyurethane base. And that's the current plan, and nothing planned just yet. That's not like secret info. There's nothing actually planned. We just really want to get the Manta into hands, people's opinions of it, and then go from there. Assess the feedback, like the price feedback, the wear feedback. Because the other thing with the wear is you can't know that just from buying a product, can you? You've got to do the 2 years on the Kamek to know how long it lasts. So even the reviewers can't talk about the biggest thing with the pad, the Manta, which is the lasting wear of it, because maybe it's not their style of pad, so they might not try it for longer than a couple of weeks. So how are they ever going to know it lasts 3, 6, 12 months, or whatever use time on what? So we expect that the lasting impact as a feature will come into play, in the next 3 to 6 months as people start talking about it. Oh, I bought mine 8 months ago. It's still brand new. That's really the sales where I personally think that sales will, or people will understand the price point more, and, sales can change or grow. And that's just the timing thing. You can't speed up time. You can't have people go, oh yeah, I've spent 6 months on it now, 3 months on it now, it's great, and in no rush, mate. If they come to that conclusion or they change before that, or something else happens, then that's just the way the cookie crumbled. So, but that's sort of where our head's at with everything, just so the viewers and yourself understand.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you for this detailed input. So it makes me wonder, because when you were talking about the Manta, and you said that when Dan found the Manta, so I'm wondering what you mean by found, and also it leads me to wonder to what extent do you have control over the creation of the mousepad? Because I imagine you don't actually like knit them by hand or whatever. You actually need to go through I guess a manufacturer. And so,
of course.
How much control do you have over the creation process and the end result?
That's highly dependent on the manufacturer. So as an example with the Kamek, the first thing we said to them was, can we change the base? Can we fix the stitching? What options do we have here? And, with that specific company, we got a lot of pushback and not a lot of negotiation with them. So, we had to make the decision to sell what we could of the Rosannas, because a lot of the Rosannas ended up like the Kameks in ways because of the factory, like you're saying, how much control do we have? We asked them to do certain things. They didn't want to do it because it was extra time for them. We said we'd pay the money for it. They didn't want that either. So in this position, we were stuck, or felt stuck, where they weren't willing to come to the table at all in any regards. And so we had to make the somewhat difficult decision to say, all right, well, look, see you later. You can't get on board with the quality that we want and we're willing to pay for. What do you want us to do? Like, we can't just keep shipping, I don't want to say imperfect, but, inconsistent Kameks and Rosannas, because it's just not enjoyable for the customer at all, and I don't necessarily have the time to hand check every Rosanna, which I did do anyway, and the Kamek I did do, but I can't keep doing that forever. Like, that's just I've got other things to do. I'm not going to pay someone to do it because we've already paid for the product to come to Australia. So, as a great question with the manufacturer, that's an example of one where we just couldn't get anywhere with them. As for the Loque and the Loque company and the Apogee company, they were very, very willing to listen to us. And of course, you still are at the mercy of the manufacturers. But yeah, they've got they can source lots of materials. You just say, I want this, I want that. Can you do this? Can you do that? Can you make it softer? Can you make it denser? Whatever it is. And they just send you it. We try it and then we go, yep, that's the one. So it's not necessarily that we're handcrafting it. It's more that we're just giving feedback and input and trying things and just trying to also make sure that we're not doing the same product that already exists on the market. Because these factories are shared. Us as an example, we've got 4 factories, so the factories are shared. Most, from what I've seen, they do specifically use textures for certain companies. But at the end of the day, let's say 3 companies are all using, or 4 companies are all using the same manufacturer, then it's about who sells the most, because then they're going to keep ordering and keep reselling. So, we've come with that mindset, but yeah, the manufacturer thing was always a risk. And so we never left all our eggs in one basket because, they don't want to come to the table with changes, then we're going to need a second manufacturer anyway.
Yeah.
So that's sort of the mindset and the process, if you want to call it that, behind it all.
Okay, gotcha. Sounds good. So now we talked quite a bit about the process of creating the mousepad, and so now when it comes to selling, obviously one of the most important things is marketing. Especially when you're a pretty small brand and you can't, I don't know, spend money on a Super Bowl ad or whatever, and you really need to get the name out. And so two of the most common things that tends to be done, to actually get that recognition would be, getting YouTubers to talk about the products and also sponsoring pro players for them to actually use the mousepad in tournaments to actually get people talking about the products. And to be honest, I haven't done that much research, but it's not something I've seen that much. I haven't seen that many reviews of
Yes.
the Spyre products, nor that many, pro players, I don't like talking about it. So I obviously I imagine it would actually cost quite a lot to do this, but yeah, I would say basically just what is your vision of getting the Spire name out?
So actually, you've opened a can of worms there, and I'm going to give you an opportunity to ask multiple questions here if you want. You don't have to.
Hmm.
So you've asked a lot there. So one thing is, of course, that you sort of touched on is the status of Spire today.
Yep.
And if you wanted to talk about that, I can.
Hmm.
It's gonna be a lot around competition
Hmm. Sure.
and about infrastructure
Hmm.
in the gaming space. So if you want to talk about that, we can.
Sure.
As the sort of side note, well, what is our strategy or plan with Spire? Given, like you said, the size, we're very small. We don't have lots of marketing money. We've got to really pick and choose where we're spending the marketing budget.
Mm.
But that to me, I just wanted to divide the 2 questions. So do you
Sure.
want to hear about both questions? Because
But
the first
yeah,
one, it can be long. You
that's
sure
all
you want
right.
to
That's
dive
all
into
right. I
that?
guess in the first way, people who will be listening to this interview will be like very much enthusiasts of the brand, or of mousepads in general. So I'm used to doing the like
Yeah, of course.
hour multiple hours long interviews. So let's go for both parts in the order you gave. That sounds good.
I'll try not to go multiple hours, but I do want to share it because the reason that I want to share it is because there may be another person out in your audience or that stumbles across this YouTube video a year later, 2 years later, and they want to start their own company.
Mm.
And they're thinking, well, what things do I need to consider? And so this is definitely a point that I think I would like to speak about,
Hmm.
and also for people to consider because it's a real point. So, all right, we'll talk about what one would you like me to talk about first, the competition or the marketing plan strategy?
I guess I'll let you choose based on whatever makes the most sense.
I'll try to get them both into one. So, originally when the Kamek first launched, and I discussed with you on the first interview, the thing was sponsoring tournaments, right?
Yeah.
Just get the pad into the best players' hands so then they can play on it. And if they like it, they'll tell people eventually, or someone will see it. It won't necessarily be, the Kamek's the greatest pad I've ever tried, but it could be, what is that guy playing on? Oh, okay, he's playing on the Kamek. Cool. I might try it. Now, with the pro players, of course, you get a mixed bag. They're obviously good enough that they're playing on a product already, right? So they'll try it. If they like it, they might stay on it. If they don't like it, maybe it'll go to a friend, family. That's okay. So we originally started sponsoring tournaments, and then I was thinking, all right, well, like you said, reviewers is next. But the thing with reviewers, and this is where it's like, it's not just on the reviewers, but they have to innovate themselves, right? As a reviewer, you can't just say every product's the best.
Yeah.
Otherwise, people aren't going to come to your YouTube and be like, oh, I know what he's going to say. He's just going to say he loves it or it's the best, because he got the product sent to him by Razer or SteelSeries or whatever. He's going to sit there and plug it and say, yeah, it's great. I can't wait for the next product that they send me. You see how their opinion can quickly change based on, well, I would love more products. So if I say it's good, then there could be more products. But you can't do that all the time.
Yeah.
Because then, it gets boring. So you need to be able to nitpick. And that's where I just like to call it balance, right? It's just a balance. It's a balance of what your personal experiences is with the product and your personal opinion. And then also, I think reviewers do consider, what is the audience and how do they feel and what are they looking for? When they come to my channel, what answers do they want from me? As a great example, Rocket Jump Ninja, he's a very prolific YouTuber. He almost started the reviewing of peripherals. Truly, I believe that. And, he would do certain tests. As an example, with the mouse, he would do the mouse spin test. I don't see many other reviewers doing that ever. And it's a great test because maybe now mice have sorted that problem out. It's like a sensor thing where you can flip the mouse and it sort of spins out. Maybe all the manufacturers have now solved that problem. So now it's no longer a part of the review. But, I recognize that Rocket Jump Ninja was, and the hand thing, he used to always talk about the size of your hand relative to the, I never heard anyone else talk about that. So finding a reviewer that has these ideas is for me important, but also I don't want them to just get the product and be like, it's great, it's the best thing I ever tried, when's the next product coming? I don't want that. So I try, when we were doing the reviewer stuff, is just like, if you feel inspired to talk about it, then talk about it, regardless if it's positive or negative, right? That doesn't matter. But don't force yourself to do it. So I would say, when we sent out the reviewers, especially with the Manta, we didn't have any conditions attached. I'm not forcing anyone to do anything that they don't want. And I don't like to interrupt someone's, call it like a natural routine, right? Where they're thinking to themselves, oh, Mick's just said, do this review, or I'm never getting another product, or he's, going to burn me at the stick, or whatever it is, right?
Blacklist me.
So yeah, that's exactly right. Now, the reason I'm taking everyone down this avenue is, right, I completely understand that reviewers want more products to review with little to no expenditure, right? They don't want to pay any money to review products. So what companies have the most to give and of what? Right? So that is the question I'll throw out to the audience, right? In terms of understanding that there's complexity, and this is not just the gaming industry, this is all industries. But you have to understand that reviewers are very hit and miss based on their personal relationships, their connections to other companies and brands, whatever it is. So trying to find, for us, right, like I said, this really integrity, congruent reviewer, it's tricky because I completely understand the position that they're in to promote specific products. in certain ways, and also consideration of their own channel and their own growth, right? You don't. What I'm trying to say is, you don't want to bite the hand that feeds you, and you also don't want to ostracize yourself from another community.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I see.
So I'm not. I don't want to dive too deep into it, but there's lots of factors to consider, right, when you're doing all this. And I would say at the start I was less aware of this, and as now I'm 2.5 years in, it's become very obvious to me. Not like that's him, that's the guy, but it's more just relaxing on the reviewers,
Okay.
and getting it back into the gamers' hands now, for me personally, or us personally, that we're focused on. And if people like the pad, reviewers like the pad, and they want to talk about it, and they put a YouTube video at it, I mean, it's not very hard for me to search on YouTube or Google and watch it myself and get an opinion, and then try to understand that person a bit more. And so there was a big shift in reviewers, get everybody to talk about it, and to, all right, how can we get it into more just regular customers or gamers? And we have tried pro gamers. They have agreements with sponsors. Their teams have agreements with sponsors, because of who they are and the following that they have. They're signed to an org, and the org not owns them, but has to tick the boxes before they can, right? So we've encountered that a little bit as well. And I completely understand all this. I'm not taking jabs at anyone. I'm just trying to put out there that there's lots of variables at play, and you have to. For me personally, I love solving problems. So this is a game to me almost, right? To try and understand, like you're saying, because we have a small budget, that means the risk on mismanaging that budget is so much more impactful, right? If we spend money in the wrong place, and this is, going to tie into the France question that you had for me about why France in a second, but you really have to feel like you understand the flow of everything, the flow of sales, where things moving, where it, I always like to come back to water, where's the rain building up, where are the puddles, trying to understand where should you put your time and energy and your money. And that's, again, another shift that I had, whereas before I was like, you can have a pad, you can have a pad, you can have a pad, and it was not necessarily generating the momentum that I'd hoped. It fizzled out in places, and that's going to happen, right? You're going to miss as much as you hit, but just trying to reduce the misses and increase the hits. That's all the sort of shift, I would say, of thinking is about now. And I'll let you.
So basically, so that was a lot to take in. So what I'm hearing.
Yes.
Is that originally you really wanted, as many people as possible to talk about the mouse pads, and so you really wanted to send it to everybody, and
have an opinion. That's right. Yes, that's right.
And then now you've got a bit more of an approach where it almost sounds like what you're aiming for is, just people sort of discovering the mouse pad by word of mouth, people talking about I don't know, on the forums, and seeing some people use it, something maybe a bit more organic, and then 100%. Actually the mouse pad getting interest from the community, and as a result reviewers being like, hey, what is this? I want to talk about it, I want to discover this, rather than the other way around.
100%. So that I'm gonna actually bounce off what you just said then. So with the Kamek, a lot of the reviewers emailed us saying, hey, we want to try it. Can we try it? And then with the Loque, we had the same experience. Okay. And, good reviews of when I say good reviews, I mean good amounts of reviews for the Loque, right? For what the time was. Then with the Aimer packs, we thought we'll do the opposite. We'll contact all the reviewers that have talked about us, and we'll offer them a free aimer pack, which is the
Okay.
4 mouse pads. That had the opposite effect, where, like you're saying, when people ask and they want something, then they're more inclined to then follow up on their end because they feel like that they've asked for it, so that they've got it, and then they've got to do it.
Yeah.
That's the psychological, what do they call it? Not cognitive dissonance, but reasoning or rationalization, right?
Yes.
But if it goes the other way, where you're like, hey, here's a free product, take it. They're like, cool. They just put it. They try it, and if they don't love it or they're not inspired by it, like I said, inspired. I love that word, inspired, and they're not inspired by it. Well, then it's just going to go to the back, and just sit in their shelf, or maybe they'll give it to friends or family, and that's okay as well because, like I said, if they're not passionate about it, then. But the thing with that model, with the aimer packs, just what I'm trying to say is, we sent out too many.
Yeah.
So we just sent it to everyone. And then let's say we sent out 50, and then maybe only 2 or 3 or 5 did reviews. So I saw the numbers of what you're coming back to with the demand. If someone wants something, so that's exactly right. The word of mouth angle is very beneficial because if you try to think, right, if you make a list of like how a customer will discover you and then buy the product, you make that list, right?
Yeah.
You start off, you'll go, okay, retail stores. Someone's going to walk into a shop, mum or dad, brother, whatever, buys it. Cool. That's your number one, right? We're not in retail stores, so we can't think about that. Cross that one off the list. What's the second one? A big reviewer plugging it like it's the greatest thing they've ever had. That's the second thing, right? It's just a reviewer saying, this is amazing. This is so good. You need to try it. Boom. So that's the second thing. But we don't have any big reviewers, so cross that one off. What's the third thing? A pro player playing with it or streaming on it, right? That can blow your sales up. I've heard of it blowing up sales. So that's the third thing, and that is attainable, right? That is attainable. So we've been trying to focus a bit more on that, but like I said, there's a lot of other variables at play. There's lots of well-established groups. So you've got to do a lot of finding, where can I find the best value? Like that. So, and then just going down the list, after the pro players, you would just get your smaller reviewers, I would say would be the next big thing after that. Then maybe like your semi-amateur players or like your streamers, they're not pro players, but they stream, they can also do a lot selling the pad. And again, this is attainable. These people are attainable to us. And that's where we've been trying to put a lot of our focus. But just coming back to, why France, and I'm sort of answering this question for you because I remember it, was they invested in us. That French people were buying our pads. A few of them were Quakers originally, but then they must have told people, and then you start to build up some demand, and then next minute you've got a reseller calling you up saying, hey, these 3 or 4 people are talking about your pads. Could we open up a channel of delivery of product? And then that's where I and the team was sort of thinking, we can't just try to just shoot to every country. We're so small. Like, it's just not having the same return. So focus on who's focused on us and invest in that area. And so with France, well, they loved our products before. The reseller took a risk on buying the Manta from us, and now we feel it's our job to mutually meet sort of like a promotional thing. Like, I don't want to just okay, good luck selling them yourself. See you later, but good luck. Nah, not at all. I want to understand everything. How do French people think? What are they good at? What are they not good at? What do they like? What do they don't like? Understand the culture, all this stuff. And then, of course, these little tells don't have necessarily a direct, like, what do French people like to eat? Well, it's not going to have anything to do with the pads, is it? Not at all. But the way they think, the way they talk, the way they communicate, everyone has a different culture and a different opinion. And, just comparing like Korea, Japan, Russia, France, Poland, Singapore, Indonesia, New Zealand, like I start to see all these cultural differences, and the prices change, like what you're saying, where, the prices change depending on what other competitors are in the region, and their opinions of the products will change too, because you get to anyone in Japan and they're just completely fixated on quality. that you try to sell like a Kamek that's somewhat defective or inconsistent, right? Or a Rosanna, a similar thing, their opinions are, nah, like, come on, mate, we're Japan, you know, do you know who we are? Do you know? Whereas another country might be looking at it and going, this is great, you know, sell them at a small discount, and it's like a fire sale. You know what I mean? Like the garbage bin. They're rummaging through it, going, what can I get for a good price? Oh, that awesome. I don't care. It's got like a corner or stitching, you know, that's out of place, and that's, you know, not just an individual thing. It is also a cultural thing as well. And so yeah, just trying to understand that factor as well was very enjoyable for me. And you know, I like to talk, so you just learning always.
Nice.
And so yeah, I watched some interviews of lots of French sports players and stuff, because obviously you guys have got a lot of good sports stars. So yeah.
Nice. Well, I'm glad that you decided to invest in my country. Definitely a lot of gamers here for sure. So yeah, nice stuff. So let me look at my question. I think we're nearing the end of
Yeah, I've thrown them
the
all out, mate. I've thrown everything out.
I
Yeah, I
think I
just
got
started
just a
talking.
couple ones left. So
Oh yeah, yeah,
in a
whatever
lot
you
of the
want. Yeah.
discussions that we've had, you really wanted to insist on the fact that you are not Spyre, right? That you're working with Dan the King and Steege, who are two
Yes.
former pro Quake players.
Yep.
That they've really been very involved in this, and so I wanted to know, basically what has the experience been like? What has been the, let's say, the pros and cons of working with other people.
Ooh, man, yeah, that is a loaded question. That's a great question, honestly. That's just, there's so much in that. So I'll start off, I guess, with the reason that it grew into, you know, the three. Um, you know, Steege had a big hand in sort of like the original idea, branding stuff. You know, Dan had help with the logo and testing and trying the products. And so at the time, though, neither of them have put a single dollar into the company,
Mm,
right? Normally, when you do a partnership in a business, there'll be investment on both sides and there'll be money invested on both sides. But at the time, I already had all the stock, so they're not going to invest any money. However, as human beings, and this is a psychological thing, as human beings, we can somehow talk ourselves down from things. And so in the, you know, natural structure of the business world, like I said, partners come in with money. So when they don't come in with money, how do they feel? And that was, for me, an interesting thing to see, because they feel like they don't deserve anything. They don't deserve it. They don't deserve to be a part of what you're building. They feel like almost they're freeloading a little bit. So I think Tyler, his reaction to that, and I'm trying to give as much of like decision making and responsibility without, you know, dumping the whole thing on them as I can, to make them feel a part of it. But at the end of the day, the human brain, it's so strangely programmed that people just do not feel a part of a business unless they've put money in. I
mm,
don't know why it happens. It's too ingrained. It's too ingrained in my personal opinion, because how I like to look at this stuff is impact. How much impact did that member of my business bring,
mm,
right? And if they brought a lot of impact, I would be extremely silly to let that person go,
mm,
right? In my opinion. Sometimes that person doesn't, you know, go anyway. They just sort of suck it up and just don't get anything for their hard work. And, you know, Mark Zuckerberg runs away with Facebook as an example, right? If you know the Facebook story
a little
as a good
bit.
example. Yeah. So look, it, you know, again, it's so that I would say was a real surprise to me, because I never thought about it like that with them, because I always sort of knew they would take over, or I wanted them to take over, and I want to do other things,
Yeah.
right? I want to code, I want to play to my strengths.
Mm.
So I try to get them to feel like they were just as involved as me, but they're looking at me and, I'm the one talking to the resellers. I was the one at the time talking to the factories. I'm handling all the customer requests. I'm handling all the deliveries. They're literally sitting at home thinking like, I own, an equal share as Michael as of this company, and they're thinking to themselves, "Oh no, I've got to do something more. I don't feel like I've deserved this yet." Now, where I want your audience and even you to change that opinion is, if I start a company, right, and it's 2 years, I've put all my energy, 100% energy, full timed into it, I've got it started, and then I want to go and do something else and just leave it running and leave somebody else in charge, how is it fair that that person that's in charge carries it? They could 10 times the company. They could come up with an idea or find a product that is my number one selling product, right? And then they may be 4 or 5 years down the track, right? After I've ditched 2 years, I've ditched, they've carried it on 4 or 5 years. How could I not justify sharing with them the company? Like, I don't know. I honestly don't know how business people do it, but that's what they do all the time. They just maul their best employees, bro. They go, "Oh yeah, but they're getting a good salary." Yeah, but you've just made 3 times the business income because that one person. Where is the fairness, right? And so all I'm doing is jumping ahead. I can see what's going to happen. I know I'm leaving. So I'm trying to G them up and fire them up to take over because they're taking over. I'm not going to be doing this forever. I'll be doing other stuff. So I would love your audience to just take a little bit of what I'm saying and just go, "Oh, okay, it doesn't always have to be money. It can be other things."
Mm.
And so that surprised me a little bit. And of course, because I'm full time on this and they're full time on what they're doing, I've had to learn to change my style of communication because I can talk a lot, and there's a lot of things happening every single day. Someone will like it, someone will not like it. A pro player will be interested, or an organization might be, whatever it is, right? A customer complaint comes in, da 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 da. The ebbs and flows of a company, and but they've got full-time jobs and both kids, they've got families, so that their time is very, very small compared to my time where I've just got plenty of free time. And so I'm like, I want an answer. I want feedback on something from these guys, but they don't have the same free time and availability that I do. So I would personally love to just be making lots of money and free them both up, but maybe in the future something like that may unfold. Now, I think the other part of the question was how the pros of it is
Yeah,
that
pros and
the
cons
pro.
of working with
Yeah,
other
so
people
so
versus
I've
basically doing it by yourself, I guess.
so I've talked a little bit about the cons. I'll touch on some pros now. Is just having people who think differently to you. Like, it's so underrated, bro. So underrated, because I'm 36 years old. I've lived life with different people, and business lived with different people. I've had different housemates, and I find the way people think very interesting, as you may as well. Being into journalism and psychology, I'm very interested in the way people think. Some people come to answers and conclusions differently to you, right? Because you look at a situation differently than them. So it was just about bringing another perspective on that. And for me personally, like, I don't rate anyone's opinions higher than those two, right? In that context of environment, I rate their opinions very, very highly. So I don't consider myself an expert at any degree. I'm just a guy that's like glue, pieces it all together. They have very strong opinions about what's good and what's not, and Dan found the Kamek and the Loque originally, and Tyler found the Manta. So it's like their opinions have not, in my experiences, been at all off the mark. Like, they've done a great job finding great products. So, and now it's just about, selling it and growing together and, building the brand, and hopefully we can hit some good strides. I won't say that we've had ebbs and flows, as everyone does, but, you know, just have to take it as it comes. And then just to talk, I guess, about some cons is, if you have a different idea to them, and this is why I got them involved, because as a one-on-one, like let's say it was just me and Tyler, right? Well, we're going to have a disagreement. Who's going to who's going to be the third person to decide this is the way we're going to do it? So I wanted the three. Three is an important number to me. And yeah, I would say like the cons is sometimes I want to do something and then don't want to do it, or they don't have the time to fully understand the variables of what I'm talking about. But I would say that's on me to better relay and distribute information for decision making, because like this answer, it's very long-winded, but some people don't want the long-winded answer. They want the short, the YouTube short, 10-second, 15-second, here's a one-liner, bro, take it to the bank and remember, write it on your wall and you'll be forever successful. Like you just you have to sort of appeal to the people that you're communicating with. And I've loved learning about, I feel like the challenges of this has amplified my own interpersonal skills and my own understanding of, okay, this guy likes to talk, this guy doesn't like to talk, this guy likes to think about these things, he doesn't like to think about these things, and just trying to filter how I am as a person, because I can be intense, like I can be everything. 1 minute we're talking about the latest game, next minute we're talking about a pro player, next minute we're talking about some org, next minute we're da 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 da. And I'm keeping these channels open, very similar to feminine energy, of course, keeping these multiple conversations going, because I have to. I've got to talk to resellers from here, customers from there, and it's turned me into this. But not everyone's like that, so I can't bring that intensity and overwhelm people. And I didn't really process any of this at the start. Like I just kept sending them stuff and thinking like, why are they not replying to me? I've just sent them essays and essays. And so, yeah, that was just a thing for me to learn and adjust. And, yeah, I was like, I can just keep pushing them. That's what I kept thinking to myself. I love, there's a Steve Jobs quote where someone says, when he left Apple, he joined some other company, or when he got kicked out of Apple and he joined some other company. And he said, what's the number one thing that you sort of learned from leaving Apple? And he said to let people make mistakes. Let the people in your team figure things out themselves. Let them make the mistake. It's okay. And I took that same approach here with Spyre. And I would say like we did make some decisions that we then later changed. And I thought at the time, we could have leaned more towards the end result that we got, but they had strong opinions and we did it their way. That's fine. And then it didn't. And then we changed it and we learned as a team. So, I'm the same though. I'll probably make decisions that they say don't do this, like the 10-year warranty. Don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. But I did it anyway. And then I made, I learned the lesson from the 10-year warranty and we adjusted. So, it's a beautiful learning process, but you can't force everyone to see things how you see them. And just touching on that though, you should also recognize as an individual when you're not a good fit for a person. Let's say you and me do business together and we start talking, and then next minute, I'm starting to feel, or you're starting to feel this almost like negative drag, right? And we may try to address it, but it might not be resolved. And that's okay. Like you and me can have a great conversation, but then in a business sense, we just can't see eye to eye. That's okay. And I think more people should recognize that and identify that quickly and be like, I'm just not compatible with this person. That's all it is. And honestly, don't force it, because I've tried to, like me thinking, I can change I can mold myself to fit into any groove there is and communicate with any person in the world. That was what I thought, right? And I'm getting all this exposure to different cultures and I'm thinking like, I am just going to be able to glue every single human being together, in some way. That was my mindset, a couple of years back. And now I've realized that some people want to live thinking this way, or whatever it is, whatever their thought process is. And they don't want that changed. And I shouldn't try to change that. But at the same time, though, I'm not going to put myself in a position where I'm tolerating this friction anymore. Does that make sense?
Mm.
So I'm recognizing, look, you and me, like, I'm not talking to you and me, but like me and this other person, whoever it is, not talking about my partners anymore. Now I'm just talking about teamwork. Me and somebody else, and we're talking about something, and I'm thinking to myself, like, this is a common point that keeps getting brought up where we just disagree. Maybe it's about. I'll give you a good example, right? I saw a stream the other day. Can I just go crazy, bro? I just
Sure.
want to go. Can I? I won't go too long. But Riot Games, for example, right? They put on some spectacular shows. Spectacular. Like, they probably do the greatest events of any organization, bar none. Like, even Blast, even ESL, good, but I just think Riot do another level, bro. They bring another level of production. Obviously, they make the game, so they can factor a lot in. But Riot, they do so much great stuff. And then I see something that absolutely infuriates me. Infuriates me. Like, if I was in Riot and that happened, I couldn't tolerate it. I could not tolerate it at all. It would be immediately changed or that person fired, right? As an example. But they're not doing that. So I think to myself, could Riot ever be a company that I would work for? Well, no, because they're pushing this specific thing that I don't like, and that'll never change. Like, they'll never listen to me. I'm an employee at the bottom. So I think individuals need to recognize when it's just not a good fit. Stop trying to force yourself to gel with these people. Stop trying to force yourself to understand how they think, because the beauty of our life is that our environment does somewhat create us, and then we've got a chance in our adulthood to take back that control of environmental programming. And some people want to take back that control, and other people, maybe it's because of their circumstances, just sort of tolerate it, you know. And yeah, I think, just coming back to people, just really think to yourself, is this working? How do I feel about this person in this specific context? Remember, you might like them, hanging out with them, on a Sunday, but then you go to do business with them. And I'm absolutely not talking about my partners. I personally think they are amazing. You know what I mean? But I'm just trying to relay that I've come to realize, reflecting back on my career as, in IT and other areas, I did the Quake community and stuff like that, that it's just, stop trying to like hold on to the rope after you fall off. Just let go of the rope, just let go of the rope. And yeah, that's enough that I want to say. I didn't want to get too specific. However, the sort of like the overarching viewpoint, that's something I only learned really recently. Like, we're talking this year recently. So yeah, I think there's so much to understand still about everything, and I'm enjoying it. Like a life understanding, not just about how to build a business and sell products and create your unique angle and build great relationships. I almost like you learn about yourself, because you're put in such different situations that you either sink or swim. Either the saying sink or
Yep.
swim, and yeah, it, I don't want to keep going too much on that point, but yeah, I've hopefully communicated what I wanted to say. So.
Oh, that's very very personal answer. Thank you. Um, so I think I got time for a final question. So I kind of want to end on like the future of the brand for Spyre. And I'd like to know, are there any interest in working on other products? Like making Spyre more than just like a mousepad brand?
Yep. Yeah. So we have looked at mice. As you know, it's a very competitive market, everyone's trying to do the best shape or the lightest mouse or the best sensor or the best, wireless technology. You've got magnesium coming into the play. We've thought a lot about all of that. However, it's a higher buy-in price to start. Like, it's a higher upfront cost, and also it's very risky. Like, when you consider going back to the groups of, you know, you've got so many pro players that love their specific mice, and that's it. You've got orgs that are sponsored by these brands, they'll only use that mice. You've got aimer groups that are really, really invested in specific brands. So I don't know if you know much about the aimer groups, but they play like the AIM Labs and Kovacs and stuff like that. Well, they're just a big, massive community, and they're sort of enthusiasts, so they do like to try lots of different mice. But at the end of the day, how big is your wallet? Mice are very expensive, $200, $300, $400 for one mice sometimes. You can't just go buy 10 and go, all right, I'll try them all. I want to support all the brands. You can't do that. You have to really double down and think and with the mice specifically, right? Because it's such a big investment, what do I want, and how does that reflect on my personal choice as a person? And there's lots of great mice companies. So I think still very competitive. The keyboards just ramped up, as you know. The Razer Wooting situation is going to be very interesting to see the response from other companies. But keyboards aren't necessarily like technically difficult to get into. However, same thing, mate. If you've ever seen the keyboard enthusiasts, they're the guys that are going to be the ones buying your product, right? Because the average customer is, like I said, they're just going to go into a store, buy a keyboard, done. See you later. I don't care about ordering nothing, unless it's a Wooting or something really special, that has like a Hall effect or some sort of advanced technology like the new activation triggers. But yeah, you're just going to either get it from a store or you're going to buy like the best. So yeah, you got to consider with the keyboards is just as competitive as mice. Headsets too far away for us personally. But I would say that we're interested, but the timing's got to be right. The product has to be right. Don't try to run before you can walk. And as an example, like Artisan, they've just been doing mouse pads for 17, 18 years. That's all they've done. And, of course, they're the best quality, so I can understand that they've stayed alive for so long. But if they can do it, surely 10% or 20% of what Artisan can do can be replicated.
Yeah.
That was where I was thinking with the pads for now. And what's the future of the brand? I mean, I would love to start telling the story. So for people who don't really know too much about the blog stuff, Spyre will be hopefully, its own world. And we want to turn all the products into characters. And what comes from that, I can't tell you just yet. It's very up in the air still. But there's a beautiful story that Tyler wants to tell, I want to tell, and it's not just your everyday story.
Okay.
It's one that's going to hopefully personally resonate with everyone. And that's the story we want to tell, and we want to tell it in the right way as well. Good delivery. You see good delivery, and you just know straight away. You feel like there's this love put into it, right? Like a true love of the brand. And Tyler, he doesn't like doing anything that doesn't have like 200% love in it, right? Like, I'm like, come on, man, let's do this, let's do that, ideas, let's do that. And Tyler's like, bro, just chill, and let's put love into the full picture, the story, everything. And I don't want to say too much because it could change. Nothing's solid. We haven't even released any information just yet too much about it. But I'm personally excited about it. And then what builds upon that? Well, like I was saying to you before, I'm not a pad expert, mate. I use it. I played games. I like gaming. You can call me a gaming expert. I watch every single game under the sun. You can call me a gaming expert. Pad expert? Nah, that's my colleagues, right? They had the opinion and they found the products. Me and my specialty is in development and infrastructure and software. So I'm very much already progressing through building things. Again, I don't want to reveal it before it's ready. And I might change it. I haven't even got opinions on it yet. It's something that I'm working on, and working closely with the other two partners. But until we start showing 10, 15, 20, 30 other people, I don't know the idea is going to even be good. So, but yeah, man, that's one thing that for anyone watching, is that like my passion and my specialty is in web development and software development, and I am extremely I'm trying to I'll reword that. I've got a lot of ideas. It's just about which ones are going to make it. And I don't want to personally choose what does and doesn't make it. I want to get feedback from the people around me, and obviously my partners will have a big say in it as well. And but in terms of like, I'm nothing short of ideas, mate. Nothing short of ideas. I have this saying, mate, and I sort of want to end on it. Is that if they give me an inch, I'll take 1,000 miles, bro. That's not 1 mile. I'll take 10,000 miles, and that's because when you think about love and passion, bro, there's nothing more in this world that I want than to have a impact on that individual, but not necessarily coming from my voice and my expression on my way of thinking, because obviously we all think differently. But to hit that inspire word again, if I just get someone to do something different in their life, like choose a different color. Like they see one of our colors and they think, what a great color. And then they buy something in that color, something else in that color. I see that as a change in the world. Do you understand? So that's even small as that. That's what I get up for every single day. And, the more value I can bring. Don't forget, value is not just physical, something that you can. Value is also up here as well, right? Where our world experience begins and ends, up here. So that was where I started with the blog stuff, but I realized that my partners, they wanted to fully understand the entire vision of the blog, but that. If you go back and read through some of those blog articles, you may get some tidbits on the vision and the entire future, but hopefully I've shared enough with you without giving too much away that it's a little hook for people to. And we'll try to promote it, so you don't have to keep tabs on us. If you want to sign up to the website, put your email in, you'll hear about it first. But other than that, hopefully it'll be such a unique thing, people will have to talk about it. That's how I like to think about things. If you just be so unique that people are forced to either copy you, or that's another thing I love as well. If anyone copies anything that I do at all, more than flattered. It's not that I take personal flattery from it, but I just coming back to the changing the color thing. Like just even a color can change someone's opinion. It's like if I see a brand copying us, mate, it G's me up so hard, because it reminds me of a saying that one of my bosses used to say, where they didn't like to be the big fish, the shark, they would swim behind it, right? And so I see that as, again, as, not a leadership thing, but a directional thing. Someone's just turned direction. And I am over the moon about that. Anyway, that's all I want to give you. I feel like I've over elaborated on a lot of points, but hopefully someone takes a small thing out of the interview and changes their own life for the better. I'll leave it there, mate. I don't want to say too much. So
Awesome. All right. Well,
thank you, and thank you, obviously.
Thank you so much for your time, for all your insight. It's been really
no worries,
interesting, and I hope that some people really gets something out of it, out of all the detail that you've given on the personal aspect of the process, the business aspect, of the strategies. I think there's really a lot to take in from that. So thank you very much, Mick.
No, mate, thank you, and just to the audience, thank you for tuning into Shazik's YouTube channel, obviously, And just take it easy, guys. Turtle mode. That's my new saying. Turtle mode, bro. It's everything that I do, it's slow and steady. Just turtle mode, bro, everywhere. So, all right, I'll leave you with it. Anything? No, that's all good. Thank you again. And, we'll obviously talk. So, yeah, cheers, mate. Thank you.